Hey fumigators! Ever happened to you to get detected on Cayo Perico despite wearing a guard uniform? In this video, we'll go through the reasons why sometimes the disguises fail unexpectedly. Normally, the disguises will grant you a few seconds in the guard's cone of vision without alerting them, and having a gun equipped should work just as well. However, prolonged time in their cone of vision will cause the disguises to fail, as you can see from the video. Sometimes though, the disguises stop working for no reason, due to game bugs, or at the very least, confusing game mechanics. These bugs are different for each infiltration vehicle. What you are watching now is the Longfin North Dock approach. The white blips here should trigger the alarm if they see you with a weapon. But this is only half true, because just the guard on the wooden dock will become alerted if he spots you with a gun.
Denied.
When you equip a disguise, these guards' blips will turn red, but that won't change their behavior much. Specifically, the guard on the dock will continue to raise the alarm if you walk in his cone of vision while equipping a gun.
Denied.
But now both the guards will trigger the alarm after prolonged time in their cone of vision. Basically, the disguises make these guys worse rather than better.
Dios. Denied.
The guard on the dock is not a big threat though, because he is looking mostly towards the water, so entering his cone of vision by accident is actually quite hard.
Denied.
At the north dock there is also this guard hiding behind the 3-table shed. The disguise works correctly on him, but for some reason he becomes visible on the radar only when he is really close, so remember to keep an eye on him. With the north dock approach, you will find even more broken guards if you move to the main dock. Two of these are the ones that would have a white blip if you had chosen main dock as the infiltration point. Despite wearing a disguise, these two guards will immediately trigger the alarm if they spot you with a gun.
Denied. Denied.
Here, there is also another quiet guard behind the 3-table shed, whose icon is only shown when you get really close to him. This guard is the most broken in the entire heist. I call him Bob. Bob is always in a bad mood. Even if you are wearing a disguise and have no gun equipped, Bob will become aggressive as soon as you walk in front of him.
Right now.
But funnily enough, Bob won't become alerted when you are not wearing a disguise. You can bet Rockstar accidentally inverted how this guy reacts to the guard uniforms. He will eventually trigger the alarm though, if you stay for too long in his cone of vision. You can find Bob also in the main dock approach, and he will behave exactly the same. No reaction if you have no disguise, but he will get alerted if you do. In this approach, Bob can also spawn on the wrong shore, which makes him even more dangerous.
Enemy helicopters inbound.
And one of the white guards can spawn on the wrong shore too, which is so excruciating to him, he immediately gives up on his life. This is just funny though. Unlike Bob, this guard is not an actual threat. In fact, the white guards at the main dock are very lenient, in that they tolerate weapons with any outfit. If from the main dock you need to go back to the north dock, you must remember that the guard near the harbor entrance will become alerted if he spots you with a gun.
Denied.
Also in this approach, there will be a quiet guard behind the 3 tables shed here at the north dock. And this concludes the main dock entrance, which is a lot less broken than the north dock one. If you find all of this hard to remember, this is the rule of thumb. When choosing Longfin as entrance, remember to hide your weapons when you are near the docks, unless otherwise necessary. And don't forget to keep an eye on Bob at the main dock, because Bob is the only guard on the island that doesn't recognize your disguise. The third and last smuggler approach is the Velum with the weapon stash. At the airport, the disguise does not affect the guard's behavior at all, so what you are watching is valid regardless of the clothes you are wearing. Specifically, all the white and red guards at the airstrip will allow you in their cone of vision if you are unarmed. If you are wondering about the cameras, I will cover them soon in this video.
Denied.
Even if you are wearing a disguise, all the guards at the airstrip will become aggressive if they spot you with a weapon.
Denied.
Nope.
Denied. Denied.
Estos son demasiado caros. Así que los veo por la calle. ¡Dios mío!
Denied.
The only exception is the red guard next to the island entrance, who is super tolerant of weapons. However, all the red guards will become alerted if you stay for too long in their cone of vision.
In the plums.
Fuck you!
Denied.
Dije que no.
At the start of the Velum approach, you will see a car leaving the area. This car is not like the other cars on the island. Instead, it behaves pretty much the same as the other guards from the airport, despite only briefly being there. That is, the driver of this car will become alerted if he spots you with a gun, just like the other guards from the airstrip. This car should be a cause of major concern when you are collecting loot here at the North Dock, which is otherwise safe. Cars can sometimes see you before you see them because of the long cone of vision, so either take out the driver, or hide your weapons and make sure that the car leaves the North Dock before grabbing the loot.
No se puede quedar por aquí. ¡Muérase, pedazo de mierda! Aquí no sale. ¡Rata de mierda!
Also for the Velum approach, the rule of thumb is easy to remember. Always hide your weapons while at the airstrip, and make sure that the patrol car at the North Dock doesn't spot you with a gun equipped.
No se puede quedar por aquí.
Unfortunately, there are even more problems with the smuggler entrances, because there is another major bug affecting all these guards that don't tolerate guns, including the car from the Velum approach. Check this out. I am aiming the pistol for just a moment. And now I am no longer aiming the pistol. Wait for it. So, what the hell happened? According to the game you see, I never actually stopped using the weapon. Which, as you have learned from this video, is what causes the Velum's strict guards at the airport, and the Longfin's strict guards at the docks to become alerted. In order to leave this glitched state, you simply need to select unarmed in your weapon wheel after you finish using the weapon. Or even better, avoid using weapons altogether while in a vehicle. Moving on to the other approaches. Luckily the disguises work correctly with the Kosatka, Alkonost, and Annihilator. Interestingly though, the Kosatka approach was similarly broken in the past, but it has been fixed since. In fact, it was almost certainly identical to the Longfin one. However, this improvement was a waste of effort, because players using the Kosatka approach rarely visit the island, as they access the compound via the drainage tunnel directly. Rockstar actually tried to improve the Longfin main dock approach as well, but they didn't bother to fix the North Dock one. Naturally, they did a half-assed job, as they often do. I really would like to know why Rockstar is capable of crafting truly marvelous things, and yet they seem to struggle with the most trivial tasks. And finally, as regards the patrol boat approach, that's also very broken, but I won't cover it in this video because it is not really meant to be used with disguises. In the compound, the disguises change behavior again. If you use the Vatira's infiltration vehicle, you will get a few white guards at the entrance, which are counterintuitively the most dangerous, because they will trigger the alarm in literally no time, right after detection. So, make sure you hide your weapon before walking in front of them. Instead, the red guards don't care about guns at all, so you can kill them with no expedients necessary. However, the red cones will become alerted as soon as you enter their cone of vision, but unlike the white guards, you will have some time to kill them before the alarm goes off.
Voy a acabar.
For completeness sake, here's how the security cameras work. First of all, the behavior is the same inside and outside of the compound, and the disguise does not matter. What matters is the camera's color. If the icon is red, the camera will detect you immediately. Instead, if the camera icon is white, you are free to walk in its cone of vision with no limits of time. I would have loved to wrap up this video here, but, you guessed it, there's more you should know. I will not dwell too much about it though, because these bugs are caused by fundamental problems with the game engine that have no real solution. Here's the first one. The game sometimes fails to despawn enemies when they go out of range. They just keep roaming around until the player looks away. Keep your eyes glued on this guard. And he's gone like magic. But what if the player never looks away? When in this transient state, the guards have no icon on the radar, they don't honor your disguise, and the alarm will go off if they are killed.
You better leave right now.
Hostile choppers coming in.
No se puede quedar por aquí.
Hostile choppers coming in.
Here's another bug that happens occasionally. If you happen to be in front of a guard, just as the guard is rendered in the game, your disguise will not be recognized. Thankfully, this sort of things is pretty rare, but they do become more frequent when playing with friends, as the game must do extra work to render and synchronize the guards for everyone. Only Rockstar can fix these bugs, but for now this is what you can do to reduce the chances of them happening. Number 1. Some approaches are more broken than others. The Longfin approach is by far the least stable, so perhaps avoid it if you have these problems frequently. That is, unless you want to use the Longfin to go to the drainage tunnel directly. It is okay in that case. The aerial approaches are significantly more stable. The Velum prep is fairly short, so use that if you want to maximize your earnings. Suggestion 2. Try to navigate around any big bulk of enemies rather than driving right through it. If you have to collect loot, let your friends wait where there are no guards. Last suggestion. If you really have to drive through a bunch of enemies, don't rush right in. Go slow to give the game enough time to process what's happening on the screen. And this concludes the video. I hope you found it useful. Remember to like and subscribe because that really helps out with the channel. See you next time. For updates on the video, check out the comments and the description box down below. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And if you want more, smash the subscribe button too. Also, come check out our new communities on Reddit and Discord. Thank you for watching.